one Bonfire of the Damned for one Vraska the Unseen in the main of the deck. And both these players at 6 and 1. Act 2 on the right with John Douglas, Jund on the left with Aaron Reed. Yes, I am implying that these decks are doing the driving, because like these two decks, super powerful monsters to be fighting with. There's a reason this is your favorite deck in Standard right now, Act 2, right?
Yeah, I love Act 2 a lot. I think it's underrated. I feel like people don't play it maybe because they think it's very hard to play, or maybe they think it's too fragile. I'm not really sure, to be honest, but I think it's a great deck with a lot of really powerful spells, especially in the sideboard that you have access to, and a lot of really good interactions game one. So, although this matchup can be very difficult because it's difficult to combo the Jund deck out with Blast from Sack plus Boros Reckoner because of the amount of removal cards like Tragic Slip and Putrefy and Abrupt Decay that are out of the Jund deck. So, but again, I still think the Aristocrats deck is favored. I was actually 1-1 against Jund when I played Aristocrats Act 2 at the Somerset Open, and my one loss was against Reed Duke, and even that one I think I could have won in Game 3 had I played maybe the last turn differently. But like I said, this deck is very difficult to play, so a lot of times your losses are just going to be to mistakes that you make.
John Douglas opens up with the card that Sam Black calls the best card in Magic, Doomed Traveler.
Yeah, Sam Black says a lot of interesting things, but I mean, it's definitely a very, very good card, particularly against Jund, because it's a resilient threat that it's one of those cards that you really want in play, especially when you play Aristocrat later on, because it's basically two ways that you can save your Aristocrat.
Blood Artist as the follow-up.
And, you know, Blood Artist isn't amazing in this matchup. It's probably one of the cards you board out, but it is something that Aaron felt necessary to kill, particularly later in the game if there are any shenanigans with Cartel Aristocrat or Falcon Wrath Aristocrat. It also makes late game bonfires pretty awkward if you're at low enough life. So it looks like John has, looks like he has a Lingering Souls in his hand, which we might be seeing this turn. And here's the Lingering Souls, and pretty good for Aaron that he was able to kill the Blood Artist last turn, because you don't want the Blood Artist to start picking away at your life with all your other removal spells, so got to get rid of it right away.
Those little innocuous effects where you're just draining here and there, but it just happens, can be shocking in how much they can actually accomplish damage-wise.
Yeah, it really, the Blood Artist can have like almost a 6 to 8 point life swing during the course of a match, without even any tricks, just like standard removal here and there. Obviously, it's one of the ways you can combo, so to speak, combo kill your opponent with all the sack effects in your deck. But here we see John playing a Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, which is arguably, if not the best, one of the top 3 cards in the deck. I love it. It's so resilient. There's so few cards in the format that can really answer it.
I mean, I actually think it's one of the top cards in Standard. The card, I think it's got a price tag well over $20 right now, and I think it's well worth it. That card is one of those cards that utterly changes the way you're having to play against it. You can't just use a Supreme Verdict to get rid of it. Tragic Slip, Terminus, there are only a few cards that actually deal with it.
So we have a Bonfire for 1. It's not going to do much. John's going to respond by sacrificing a Spirit Token to Falcon Wrath Aristocrat to give it indestructibility. That'll survive, and then he gets another Spirit Token from his Doom Traveler, which dies. So still, John's in very good shape because I believe he has another Blood Artist in his hand. So he can actually attack for 5, cast the flashback the Lingering Souls, and then cast the Blood Artist, which should be enough to kind of put this game away. So
now with that token in play, that Aristocrat's still a huge problem. And look at this, from the graveyard, more spirits. Killing that Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, good luck.
Yeah, and even if you do, I mean, you're kind of putting you're under a lot of pressure with that Blood Artist. So even a Thragtusk here won't really do much for you. So let's see what Aaron can kind of manage this turn. Do we have anything else? So is he just going to go for it now? 3, 4,
5.
And he kills his own Blood Artist.
Nice.
So, ooh, the game 1 handshake. that is a bold maneuver for those young Magic players. You never want to do a game 1 handshake. It's a little too bold, in my opinion.
I mean, you can do it if you're the one losing.
if I'm losing and I'm like, wow, that was a really great game, let's shake on that. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I personally would never do that. That's a little too outrageous for me. But the game one handshake, I think, is
when you're the winner and you give the game one handshake.
It's one of the hotly contested moves in all of Magic. The game one handshake.
Let's all clap for me.
Yeah, that was a great game, buddy. I know we have 2 more to play, but I really wanted to just shake.
For those of you who are rock fans, Robbie Cordell is at our table 1, and he was shifted over to the feature match area. But just for those of you who were tweeting earlier about The Rock, he is at table 1, so that's pretty awesome for him.
For those rock fans out there, you got someone who's well, it is the people's champion. You know?
It's true. It's true.
Doing pretty well so far. Going with round 7, there's only 3 rounds left after this one. Possibly a win this round and win next round maybe could draw into top 8. So it's in pretty good shape so far to make top 8 of this tournament.
Absolutely. John Douglas with the Act 2 deck sideboarding here against Jund. I don't know. You've played Act 2 more than me. I'm going to ask you, what do you think you should bring in here from this?
So basically, it's hard to combo kill them with Blasphemous Act. Obviously, you don't want to board out Reckoner because it's still a threat. Blasphemous Act, not so great in this matchup. I also don't love the Tragic Slips. Tragic Slip's not a great card. Neither is Blood Artist. Obviously, Blood Artist was good in that game, but after board, you know, you're contending with a lot more cards like Mizium Mortars and Bonfire of the Damned, and pinging effects like from the Olivia Voldaren. So Blood Artist isn't really that impactful. Cards like Obzerat are really cards that you want after board. They're more resilient threats, and they still kind of drain life. They can be top deck. Assemble the Legion, another kind of powerful card. Not as good with the number of acidic slimes running around, and he also has a Vraska, which is another way that he can deal with it. But still, a kind of resilient threat. I also like bringing in the Markham Mutinies, because being able to steal a Thragtusk and sack it to get the token can be a huge swing. It also is another way you can deal with Olivia Voldaren, which sometimes you have trouble with.
From Aaron Reed, the Jund player, one of the cards that's going to be auto-win is Tragic Slip. Also coming in, probably a Mizium Mortars, and I think Vraska is reasonable, but I don't know that I want 2 of them. Do you want 2 of them in your opinion?
No, I don't think, unless he's really expecting John to bring an Assemble the Legion, which you can't really. A lot of the lists are playing it, some aren't though, so I'm not sure you can really. I like Appetite for Brains, because it's another way to deal with Falcon Wrath Aristocrat.
I mean, I also like Sever the Bloodline. I like Vampire Nighthawk, just things to like.
Yeah, definitely.
Put them down on the ground and like have that 2/3 make an attack not feasible, and then if you need to later, attack with it and gain that life. You know, this seems like a reasonable.
Vampire is very good against Lingering Souls. I also like Sever the Bloodline.
Yep.
I like having at least one Vraska main. Don't like the Liliana.
Liliana is so bad against this deck.
Obviously, cards like Tragic Slip, Mizium Mortars, Appetite for Brains are the cards you really want to be bringing in.
Yeah. Now, if we go to the match underway, you can see on the right, John Douglas shuffling up, hoping to make this a quick 2-0, and of course, Aaron Reed playing, I think, what might be one of the 2 boogeymen of the event. I kind of feel like Jund and Junk Reanimator are the standards closest thing that we have to boogeymen, though maybe Naya Blitz might also be on that list.
I think, in terms of consistency, I'd say those are probably the 2 tent poles of the format. I'd say Naya Blitz is another boogeyman, but I think it's easier to beat Naya Blitz than it is a Junk Reanimator or a, like, if you want to beat Naya Blitz, you can beat it. If you wanna go out to beat Reanimator or Jund, it's difficult to build a deck that can beat one of those decks. You know.
Yeah.
Naya Blitz, it's more of a narrow strategy, so you can kind of hone in on a deck that can defeat it pretty easily. But Jund and Reanimator, they just play very powerful cards, and they're very consistent, so it's hard to kind of hate those decks out of the format.
I mean, if you told me that I would have a dream tournament where I would get to choose what archetype I'd play against all day, it would have to be a good archetype that I would choose. I would definitely choose Naya Humans, because as you're saying, it's all I've got to do is basically make a deck that can survive and kill everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Like Aristocrats Act 2, for example, has a great matchup against Naya Humans. If I was playing Aristocrats Act 2, I would love to play against Naya Humans all day.
Aaron Reed starts off with an Overgrown Tomb.
So let's see if Aaron has turn 2 Farseek, which is basically the key card in the Jund deck.
The nuts turn 2 play.
Yep.
There it is.
Turn 2 Farseek. My least favorite play in all of Magic. Turn 2 Farseek.
That's a very bold statement.
So it looks like I see a Sire Insanity, a foil Sire Insanity. So he left in the Sire Insanity. Let's see how if that has an impact in this game.
Turn 2, John Douglas passes after laying a land.
I'm surprised he kept in Sire Insanity because it doesn't seem like it's that great in this matchup because John can empty his hand much quicker than Aaron can. And I think if you're playing off the top, I think John's kind of in a I think John's probably okay with that, you know? If we're playing off the top of the deck, I have cards like Lingering Souls, I have Obsidian, ooh, Rakdos Return too.
Nice.
So,
Master perhaps? Does he have it? Nope.
Another Farseek.
Another Farseek. Ramping up for a potential 4.
Yeah, this is gonna be absolutely great for Aaron. There's nothing John can do on turn 3 that's gonna be really backbreaking for Aaron, and Aaron's basically just gonna be able to Rakdos Return for 4 here, putting a lot of pressure on John.
We see our first play. Boros Reckoner, one of those cards that if you've gotten an aggressive enough start, I like against Jund, but if your draw is not aggressive, it feels so underwhelming versus a deck that can just Abrupt Decay or Putrefy or some other random removal spell on it.
Yeah, it's not really great in this matchup. It's fine, it can attack, it can hold off Thragtusk potentially, but yeah, if Aaron has a 6 land here, which it looks like he does,
yeah.
Looks like it's gonna get pretty nasty here.
And it looks like he's even holding off for yet another turn because he's going to do something else with 5 mana.
So it looks like we have a Putrefy. Wow, I'm surprised. He chose not to Rakdos Return for 4 here. He looks like he has the Sire Insanity in his hand too, so maybe he's thinking maybe I'll Putrefy, and then on my turn maybe I'll get a Sire to resolve? I'm not sure.
Passes the turn with 5 mana, a Putrefy in hand.
Yeah, so with Sire and Rakdos Return, it's kind of an awkward spot for Aaron because, you know, what does he want to do here? Putrefy? So that dies. Lingering Souls would be really bad for Aaron here. Okay, so Lingering Souls comes down. Now Aaron's in a position where, all right, am I going to Rakdos Return? Am I going to cast Sire? What do I do here? He does have a Keswick Wolf Run, so, and he also has a Mizzium Mortar, so we're going to see a Mizzium Mortar here. Oh, wow.
Goodbye hands.
So I guess Aaron's okay with just getting he's basically all in on Wolf Run Sire right now. But he also has plenty of cards he can top deck. I'm not going to pretend like John's going to be able to flashback Lingering Souls here, but he's still going to need something good. His Aristocrat would be a great draw.
Jeez.
But doesn't look like he has that. Looks like we're just going to get flashback Lingering Souls, and he's going to have to discard his hand again.
And to the graveyard goes...
You gonna get anything good? Yep. Discards.
I can't tell.
Zealous
Conscripts. Ouch, that's a good one.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. So let's see what Aaron does here. Does he have another spell? Looks like he does. Well.
Off the top. Why not? Why not?
All right, so
here we go. Attacks with
classic.
Attacks with Craw Worm. Here comes 6/4.
Yeah, there's not many removal spells John has for creatures in his deck after board in particular. He only has 1 Arzor Charm. Tragic Stuff's going to be tough to get going when you have no hand and no creatures in play. So he's going to need his 1 Arzor Charm or the Dreadbore, maybe if you board it in.
Take 10, he says.
Yeah. Discards Bonfire of the Damned. The Obsidian would be okay here.
That's
okay.
it.
Ooh.
Another handshake.
the game 2 handshake.
Well, at least he gave this one up when he lost.
At least he's consistent.
There we go.
So Sire Insanity was pretty good that game, particularly if you top deck Mizzium Mortars. So let's see how game 3 goes. Now that John knows, with John on the play now, I wonder if Aaron goes to his sideboard, maybe boards out those Sires. Maybe they're not as good when you're on the draw. They would have been particularly awful if he didn't have that Farseek.
Yeah.
I mean, he had double Farseek. That's why it looked good. But in general, though, I don't think that card's very good in this matchup. I mean, there's the John basically is fine with just emptying his hand. Granted, there's more cards in Aaron's deck that he could top deck, but if you don't have a Wolf Run in play, that Sire is not that impressive. Particularly with Lingering Soul tokens. So Fortunately for Aaron, it didn't matter. He had the Mizzy Mortars. He had pretty good draws after that, and John didn't have any action after that. So let's see what John's deck can do for him after board. He still has. We know he's boarding into Zell's Contract, so he also has those Mark of Mutiny effects. Let's see if he can get something going. Assemble the Legion, another card that basically means you cannot cast your Sire Insanity unless you have a Wolfram.
For those of you who are just joining us, this is the Star City Games Open Series here, live in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Adrian Sullivan, here with Osip Levidowicz. This is the 7th round of 10 rounds. 450 players came here to this Nashville tournament, and we've only got, 3 rounds after this, and then a round of top 8. So only, perhaps, maybe 8 or 9 matches of Magic to watch before the end of the day. That does not sound like enough Magic to me. I don't know about you, but I want to get even more than that in.
Yeah, I would love it if we can add another 8 rounds to this tournament.
I know. That's actually one of those things that I love about the Invitational. You get all those extra rounds, so it makes it super awesome.
Yeah, we really need more Magic. I don't think there's enough. Granted, you're going to have plenty of Magic to watch by the end of the weekend. You're going to have all these matches, not to mention all the Legacy rounds that we're going to be going through tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to the Legacy because, in my opinion, when it comes to constructed Magic, Legacy is the creme de la creme. It's just such an awesome format. So many archetypes, so many different ways to play the game.
Well, the interesting thing is, this is the first Legacy format where we're going to see Dragon Maze potentially make an impact. I mean, we haven't seen, the last few opens have been either team sealed, or I believe we did 2 days of Standard, maybe. It hasn't been Legacy since Dragon Maze release. Yeah,
and actually, we were talking about this earlier, and there were a couple of passerbys who were here in the room, and they were like, yeah, we miss our Legacy. So if you're a Legacy fan, after your long, long desert of other formats, you're going to have some Legacy.
Yeah, it was basically team sealed and then sealed last week's. So no Legacy with Dragon Maze for a long time. And you're going to get your fill tomorrow because we're going to have, we could tell the locals definitely want their Legacy.
And now, do you have any idea if there are cards in Dragon's Maze that are going to make a splash? We talked about how Voice of Resurgence is much weaker in Legacy because of Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, cards like that. But that was definitely one of the cards that might make a splash. Is there anything else that might?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything too amazing.
No Deathrite Shamans, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Deathrite Shaman was one of those cards that was a multi-format staple. I think Voice of Resurgence could be good. Maybe you'll see. I don't think it's gonna. The one deck I could see it in would be maybe Maverick. I don't know if you're gonna see that. Maybe does Elves play Beck and Call now as basically a 5th through 8 potentially Glimpse of Nature? I don't know. But,
that was the card that I had some Legacy people tell me they expected to see make the splash, but we'll find out tomorrow.
Well, the fact that it's whenever a creature comes into play is huge. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not, with 4 Glimpse, 4 Beck and Call, maybe a new deck could arrive with a bunch of 0 casting cost creatures like the Kobold deck that we've seen in the past.
The Kobold deck.
But yeah, for now, looks like we're still at Standard, and we have Aristocrats Act 2 versus Jund, and John Douglas with the Aristocrats has a pretty solid start of turn 1 Doom Traveler, turn 2 Cartel Aristocrat, although Aaron Reed does have the Jund staple of turn 2 Farseek, which is my least favorite play in Magic.
So why is it your least favorite play in Magic?
Because it's just, the Jund deck looks so bad when it doesn't have a Farseek. I mean, if anyone who's played Standard and doesn't like Jund and has to play against Jund, how much better do you feel when the Jund player doesn't have a turn 2 Farseek? You feel like on top of the world.
Pretty good.
It's easily the best feeling in Magic when your Jund opponent is on the draw and does not have a Farseek. It's like, it's the difference between being in a race with like LeBron James and my grandmother. It's like, that's the difference. The deck is so much slower without Farseek.
After a combat, we see a turn 3 Lingering Souls from John Douglas. Now 5 power on the table. And
so curving out pretty nicely, 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop. Does he have the Aristocrat or the Sorin for turn 4? Sorin would be great. Sorin out of the Aristocrats deck is one of those cards where you want to get that emblem as fast as possible. You don't really care about making a vampire, you don't care about anything but getting that emblem.
Huntmaster of the Fells comes down. This is a part of the way that Jund defends itself, is the resilient creatures plus life gain in Huntmaster of the Fells plus Thragtusk. these two cards, Earthquake, these two cards end up being essentially huge life soaks with the life gain plus the blockers.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that if Aaron has a card like Putrefy Abrupt Decay and decides to just pass the turn next turn, there's not that much instant removal in John's deck that can deal with the Huntmaster, so it could potentially flip, kill a token, kill a Doom Traveler, and he's left with a 4/4 body, so definitely a lot of play for Aaron right here.
The only good attack for John is in the air, it looks like. Unless he wants to sacrifice a creature and attack in with the a pro-green Cartel Aristocrat, which seems like a waste.
Looks like we have a Tragic Slip. Looks like we have a...
Oh, here he goes.
So yeah, I like this play. You're fine with sacking a Doom Traveler to take out a Wolf.
And this is going to make pro-green... Oh, he's not losing the Doom Traveler, keeping that for insurance. Just take one, kill your Wolf, and then probably finish off your Huntmaster.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like that play, but because you're gonna flashback Lingering Souls this turn probably. I can't see you not wanting to flashback Lingering Souls. You play a land, flashback. Take two.
Takes two. He's gonna go a Reckoner, I think.
Reckoner as maybe. He's playing Reckoner around. He's playing around a top deck Bonfire of the Damned. So. Or even a fifth land, the Bonfire for 2 is probably...
In the hand, Aaron Reed has Mizium Mortars, Garrick, Primal Hunter.
And Thragtusk.
Yeah. And I did see a mana, so...
Yeah, he definitely has an Overgrown Tomb in his hand.
There it is.
Decides to just play it tapped. Interesting. And he has a Tragic Slip and a Mizium Mortar, so he's just going to try to Mizium Mortars
anything.
A creature and then Tragic Slip the Boros Reckoner?
Yeah.
So,
you
Lingering
choose.
Souls token gone. And then Boros Reckoner dies this turn.
Honestly, if he's going to go that way, I almost want to kill the Doom Traveler.
I think this plays fine.
I don't mean from John, I mean from Aaron.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron targeting the Doom Traveler instead.
So, let's see what we have here. Attack for 3. I believe he might have an Assemble Legion in his hand. Not sure if he has a 5th
I believe
mana.
I saw one. I don't know about that... the 6th or 5th mana.
So we have a Lingering Souls, yep.
2 Lingers in the graveyard right now. Assemble the Legion in John Douglas's hand. Aaron Reed at 12 life. And we're going to see a Thragtusk, I believe. Up to 17.
And there's that life gain. Very, very annoying for the Aristocrat decks. You put so much pressure on them and they just gain 5 life. And you don't have that Blasphemous Act combo really anymore after board. But, does he draw a 5th mana to cast Assemble Legion? Mark of Mutiny. Perfect top deck. Even better.
Ouch.
So,
this is going to be a huge swing. We're going to see a 6/4 Thragtusk coming on in with the team, and then Cartel Aristocrat is going to say, I'm hungry. Give me a beast after this beast dies.
He's dropping Aaron down to 6, and he'll be left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 power left in board. So, pretty good turn for John right there. Aaron has another Thragtusk we know in his hand, so he can go back up to 11 if he chooses. He also has a Huntmaster. Wow. Just draw a Huntmaster for the turn.
He's going to need to lay that Thragtusk. Goes to 11. The best block he can do is going to be blocking that beast. And if everybody attacked, he would still be knocking down to 5, something like, is that right? Now down to 6,
So yeah, he can attack with everything here, and he would drop, Aaron down to 6.
And it's gonna be,
wow. So
gives you the choice. Now he's gonna think, does he want to, nope, he loses his spirit probably. I like that a little bit better. But if you're gonna go there, I would cast the Lingering Souls from the graveyard first, but 3
maybe
mana.
He wasn't expecting that, so we have another Lingering Souls.
Another Linger. And he's saving all these Lingers in the graveyard. Basically, for the insurance policy, should everything go awry, he can double Linger from the graveyard. 3 Lingering Souls in the yard right now.
So Aaron's at 6 life here. We're going to have Huntmaster come down and bring you up to 8.
Now, grand total so far this match, 14 life gained by Aaron Reed. Not this match, this game, pardon me.
So does Aaron... so John chooses not to sacrifice the Doom Traveler to get another flyer. So, what do we have here? Another land yet, or no? Looks like it might be a tragic slip.
And John Douglas flashes back before combat of Lingering Souls this time.
Yeah, and had he done that last turn, he actually would have had enough damage this turn to potentially kill Aaron. But now it looks like he's gonna. I think he has to give his Aristocrat Pro Green before blockers.
He goes in with everybody.
Oh, he's gonna allow Aaron to block. See, John has to be a little bit more aggressive with his Aristocrat here. You can't give him a chance to block. You're not doing anything you're not doing him any favors.
Wolf blocks Cartel Aristocrat.
Wow, so pretty good block for Aaron. John's just gonna sacrifice his Doom Traveler to the Aristocrat, and he's gonna drop Aaron to 5.
And now Aaron is actually in a position where a Mizium Mortars or a top-decked Bonfire will take care of most of the problems currently being presented. There will still be a Cartel Aristocrat in play, but with that Doomed Traveler dead, it would be a very big swing.
Yeah, I think John was playing around Bonfire a little too much this game. I mean, you have 3 Lingering Souls. You also have a Doom Traveler in play. You got to be a little bit more aggressive in this matchup. He basically left 3 points of damage on the table so far this game.
And let's see if it matters. Aaron Reed looking for a top deck Bonfire, looks for the Miracle, doesn't find it.
So, what can we do here? Doesn't have enough flyers in play.
I think that's it. If he passes, then he can flip the Huntmaster and shoot one of the flyers. There's still too much damage, so he's got to cast something.
Nothing you can do about the flyers here. Aaron really needed either Mizium Mortars or a Bonfire there. He doesn't even have triple red though, so
yeah, if he casts
another Thragtusk might have helped.
I mean, here's what he can do: is he can attack and hope that John blocks. You know?
Well, I'm fine with attacking here. I wouldn't just do nothing. You could definitely attack here and see what he does. Maybe he'll try to kill the Huntmaster and triple block here.
And then you can follow up with a Dreadbore.
Or you can play Garrick and make a guide.
Depending on what you do.
Depending on how many creatures he blocks with. Like, if maybe he double blocks the Huntmaster to try to kill it. You have to attack. At the very least, you attack with both your creatures.
Yeah, attack before you do anything else.
Yeah, because at least you drop John to don't pass. Stop shuffling. Stop telegraphing that you have nothing.
Stop giving away all that
Stop giving away. Stop making that face. Just put your hand down and attack with both your creatures. No.
I mean, it probably doesn't matter.
Well,
it probably
wouldn't have mattered. But at the in general, you should never concede. Put the onus on your opponent to make a mistake at the very least. John could theoretically maybe think, okay, maybe he's